Greetings, all, and thank you for joining me once again for Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I'm here doing the new releases for October 24th, 2025, and so let's get started. There's a lot to cover, and normally I start with the box sets, so let's get going with the box sets this week. First up, this guy. He really knows how to do this, and he's got another box set or deluxe edition coming next month of the Tonight's the Night album. But today we have Neil Young, the archive, the official release series, disc 26, 27, 28, and 29. This is, 8 LPs, a numbered box set. Where the number is. Haven't looked for it. Oh, there it is. 3293. This features Harvest Moon, which a lot of people may have, Unplugged, harder to find, Sleeps with Angels, and Mirrorball. So those are the 4 albums in this box. Mirrorball, the one he did with Pearl Jam, really hard to find. So anyway, this is out as a set. At some point, they might break this up. I don't know. But these were all remastered from analog originals, recordings done at Bernie Grundman Mastering, historically accurate artwork. Anyway, yeah, Neil Young. Tireless. So, and well, we just got here. I don't know what this guy's thinking, but this box set from Bruce Springsteen just came out not even 3 months ago, maybe 3 months. Was 8 unreleased albums he recorded between 1982 and 2018. Some really great stuff in there. Especially, I really enjoyed the Philadelphia sessions, the Streets of Philadelphia. Like a dozen or more songs that he recorded for an album that he shelved, and all we ever got really was the one song. And then Secret Garden 2, I guess, was a single that came later. So, yeah, I mean, it's a wealth of material, unreleased material. And now we get this, the Nebraska box set. I don't know if this is sort of to coincide with the movie that just came out or is coming out with Jeremy from The Bear. I think it's probably all been planned, sort of, but this is a newly expanded edition, 4 LPs and a Blu-ray. This features 15 unreleased songs, including tracks from the legendary Electric Nebraska sessions. The Electric Nebraska sessions with the E Street Band. These are the ones that people have been talking about for decades, of like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get to hear that stuff? Solo Nebraska outtakes, a 2025 remaster of the original album, a new film of Springsteen performing all 10 songs, and live audio of the performance. So this is these both run in the sort of mid 100s ranges for box sets. So this is vinyl. It doesn't list the stuff on the backs other than what the main discs are, so you'll have to sort of look it up to see what you see there. So anyway, awesome. I mean, this is one of Springsteen's best albums. It's kind of underrated, and it's not underrated by critics, but a lot of fans don't know it because it sort of got buried in that sort of mix right before Born in the USA. So, and between that and Darkness on the Edge, or was that, not Darkness, The River, which had a ton of songs too. So, anyway, the guy had a wealth of material coming out. Then also you can find the Neil Young on this handy dandy little 4 CD box set. I mean, the CDs have been out for a while individually, but these are sort of newly remastered ones. And the same thing for the Springsteen. You can find that as a little mini CD box set. This runs about 80. This is like 50. So oddly, the Springsteen is more on CD than the Neil, but it's the inverse on vinyl, where the Neil are longer albums, so they're more. But anyway, way cool stuff. It's about time. All right. Let's see. So, getting on with the program here. New album from Brandi Carlile. And this is called Returning to Myself. This is an opaque pink baby vinyl, color vinyl edition. Brandi's had a busy year. She did an album with Elton John that came out earlier this year that was very well received. Sold pretty well, too. And this is more her solo stuff here. Features tracks like Returning to Myself, the title track, Human, A Woman Overseas, A War with Time, An Anniversary, that's side A. Side 2, Church and State, Joni, You Without Me, No One Knows Us, and A Long Goodbye. Sounds like a very personal record in some ways, from even the song titles, so can't wait to hear it. Thank you, Brandi. Always quality work from her. She's really great. Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen, and his third record now. This is called The End. Orange with red splatter vinyl. This is from the Grammy-nominated musician. Interesting cover art. All songs are written by him and produced by Michael Basquet. And anything else that they're telling us on the back here? Not really. 10 songs. And it's on BMG. So, new Wolfie Mammoth record. I'm sure Valerie is quite proud of him. Moving on to some awesome reissues this week. Oh my gosh. Some people have been waiting for this for forever. Duran Greatest. This is cool because you can kind of see it's embossed with the word greatest here. This is a repressing or first time pressing on vinyl of a greatest hits CD that they released back at the end of the 90s, really, or early 2000s. I think it was before their reunion, Astronaut. But cool thing about this, it's 2 LPs and remastered and on vinyl for the first time. It's white vinyl. But the thing that's really cool about this, well, there's a couple things, but one thing in particular is that it features a couple of songs that are not on any other version of vinyl right now, new, unless you got an original copy of the Wedding album. So to tell the story just briefly, they were supposed to release their Wedding album on vinyl again. That was their kind of 1993 comeback album. It was supposed to come out 10 years ago. And the week of release, it was pulled from release and nobody's seen it since. And they keep threatening that they're going to release it. They've released every other album except that one and maybe the one after, the Covers album, Thank You, which is probably less desired. But those 2 records are sort of impossible to get, and people who have originals hang on to them generally. So that Wedding album has 2 of Duran Duran's biggest hits and 2 of probably their most well-liked songs. Those being Ordinary World and Come Undone. And they're both on this greatest hits album. So while it's not the Wedding album, which might for some people have a bunch of songs in there that they might not care about as much, at least you've got the hit singles here. This also has the song Serious, which is from the Liberty album that was completely buried by critics. And that was actually the second single from the album. But it does feature a lot of other songs that are kind of hard to get. Everything from Electric Barbarella to Is There Something I Should Know, which is also kind of hard to get now because it was a non-album single that came out between 2 albums, between Rio and Seven and the Ragged Tiger. So there you have it, Duran Greatest, double white vinyl. I can't wait for that. People have been waiting for that. Little Feat gives us a reissue this week. The last record album And this is a double vinyl edition. This is the 1975 album, recut from the original analog mastered tapes, and LP2, previously unreleased outtakes, demos, and rare tracks from the vault, mastered by Bernie Grundman. This was probably, I guess, towards the end of Lowell George's real well-liked Little Feat run. And for completists, there's a CD box set of this, which has even more material. This has a live show also. Runs a little bit more, like $1 more than the vinyl, because it's a CD, but it does have 4 CDs. It's got this live show, The Hell's a Poppin', live at the Orpheum Theater, Boston, Massachusetts, 1975. Halloween, 1975. How apropos, and the same sort of bonus tracks on disc 2. All right, so Little Feat, couple of things to go for there. One thing that I don't have to show yet, but should be here shortly, and I'll just show the CD because I'm doing sort of big time reissues here. Elton John, Captain Fantastic, and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This is a double CD reissue of this. This is the original album with previously unreleased session demos and exclusive Captain Fantastic Live 2005 performances, plus a 24-page booklet. The vinyl of this is coming shortly. It's some special color vinyl, and it's an import from the UK. More expensive. I think it runs about $60. This is $26 for the double CD. But yeah, new Elton John reissue of Captain Fantastic. Let's see. Well, Rocktober continues this week, and last week, quite a big blitz with the beginning of Rocktober. Really, the beginning. We had a lot of things that sold really well over the last week or two. What were they? Trying to think. Well, things like Morphine, that album, good. Fleetwood Mac's Bare Trees did really well. There were some of those kind of, what do they call them, Rhino Reserves that did pretty well. So anyway, there's been quite a lot. There's a couple of things here that this week of note, some kind of sets of albums from different artists. This week we get a lot from Dream Theater. I think they broke these out of the box. There was a box. Anyway, this features one album here, Octavarium, which does feature the 24-minute title track on side 4. That's a 2 LP set. If you're a Dream Theater fan, this is a week for you, I think. Systematic Chaos, another 2 LP edition. I think all of these are on clear vinyl. They are. And this is their Roadrunner debut, featuring Constant Motion and Forsaken. So their debut for the Roadrunner record label. Train of Thought, another Dream Theater release of their 2003 album. The band returned to their heaviest sound, is what it says on the sticker there. And this one looks like maybe it's a double album too. Oh, it feels kind of like less. It's probably because it's this one's not a gatefold. I don't know why they do that. Sometimes they just shove them inside. And then 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, another big selling Dream Theater. The epic double album includes The Glass Prison and the title suite. So those are available on vinyl for a limited time. All right, and not to be outdone by Dream Theater. Well, sort of outdone because there's one fewer record. But another band, I think I've had their box set here. It's on the wall back here somewhere. But I think a lot of people will be excited about this who know who they are. Mr. Bungle. This is Mike Patton of Faith No More's side project, and became more of a project of its own. In some ways, it probably got to be almost as popular as Faith No More. But this is Their first album, the self-titled, the first standalone North American vinyl reissue since 2009, features band-approved, resequenced first sides. So it's a little different than the original, remastered and sequenced across 2 LPs for improved fidelity, pressed on translucent orange crush vinyl. So they did change the running order of this, but this album, I don't know what to say except the first time I heard it, my mind was pretty much blown. I'm like, is this music? How do they keep it together? And now I hear bands sort of like, when Black Midi or Jordy Griep does certain things, or who's another one? There are a few bands, Geese sometimes, where they just go sort of out on a limb, and I'm like, how do they keep together? And listen to Mr. Bungle, and that's a real test of how are they keeping this together. Let's see, the second album here, California, is the first standalone North American vinyl reissue since 2010. Includes the bonus track Nosteraces, remastered and sequenced across 2 LPs for improved fidelity, pressed on translucent ruby vinyl. And the third, Mr. Bungle, getting a reissue for Rocktober, Disco Volante. And this is the first standalone since 2009, includes the bonus track Mind Emissions, remastered and sequenced across 2 LPs. This is on translucent light blue vinyl. All of these records are seen as like sort of like iconic, very unique, critically acclaimed records. Hard to believe that they came from the Faith No More staple, because you wouldn't have really known that necessarily from hearing the Faith No More records. But Mike Patton is kind of an audio genius in a way. The fact that he had the mind to put that kind of stuff together, and then he went on and did other side projects as well. But Mr. Bungle is usually seen as the pinnacle of his side projects and the one that got the most attention. Another band that I think it's great that they've been doing these reissues for, and these are also great albums if you're into like hardcore metal or whatever, or industrial rock. Ministry, The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Love their album titles are crazy. This is the expanded edition, the Billboard charting album that fused industrial metal, thrash, and electronic. Includes Thieves and Burning Inside. And this is a 2 LP set pressed on black vinyl. And this features bonus tracks, Burning Inside 12-inch, Thieves 12-inch, and Smothered Hope. All right, and the second album from Ministry this week, Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed or The Way to Suck Eggs. That's the title. The full title, this critically acclaimed best-selling album featuring NWO and Jesus Built My Hot Rod, plus 7 bonus tracks pressed on black vinyl. The bonus tracks include 3 TV song, Jesus Built My Hot Rod, short, pusillanimous so they can fit more commercials on the radio edit. Fucked, Just One Fix, WSB 12-inch edit, NWO Extended Dance Mix, Quick Fix, Just One Fix remix, and Jesus Built My Hot Rod, Red Line, White Line version. So Gibby Haynes makes a guest appearance on this, of Butthole Surfers. Al Jorgensen and Ministry, always sort of willing to let certain people kind of step in on some of their records and collaborate. I don't know what to be said about Ministry that hasn't been said, except I don't know if people give them enough credit as the band who probably started in one place and went so much further in another direction in such a short amount of time. I was thinking about this at one point, like, Scott Walker did this. There are very few artists that start like in one spot and end up way over here. And Ministry kind of started as like a little like light synth pop band, kind of trying to be sort of British sounding, and ended up, more of a metal type band. Now they're kind of, I don't know, they're sort of a hybrid of the two, it seems, in some ways. But continuing with Rocktober, there's a couple more here. Stone Temple Pilots and their self-titled album. And this is on, I think this is on like red vinyl or something like that. Doesn't say. Between the Lines, Hickory, Dichotomy, Cinnamon, and Maver are the songs listed on the cover of this album. This one's a little harder to get, I think, and it's towards the end of the career with Weiland. I can't remember if they did one album after that or if that was the last one. And another Rocktober. This is Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery. This is the Steven Wilson remix, and a 2015 remix that he did. So he did it a while ago. The 50th anniversary limited edition on marbled vinyl. So if you're interested in Steven Wilson and you like Jethro Tull, that is probably for you. One more here, Fleetwood Mac, and a reissue of the Tusk album. And this is on transparent blue vinyl. So I don't understand it. This one gets a transparent blue vinyl, like a color vinyl repress. Bare Trees is on the Rhino Reserve series. The self-titled album and Buckingham Nicks get Rhino Hi-Fi editions. I just wish that Rhino was a little more consistent with whatever series they're farming these out to, because then you're like, well, now later on, do I need to get the other ones in the series when they decide to release this as color vinyl or whatever, you know? I don't know. Oh, and Buckingham Nicks, that's on color vinyl too, I think. So go figure. Warren Zevon, there are a couple Warren Zevons here. They broke these out of the Record Store Day box. So, but they're doing these on just separately now. The 9th studio album from him, Mutineer, gets a sort of separate release. I think we still have one copy of the box set left. Mr. Bad Example. This is a critically acclaimed 1991 studio album. Again, these are all from analog tapes mastered by Bernie Grunman. This one was produced by Waddy Wachtel. Warren produced Mutineer. And then there's also a live record. And this one is Learning to Flinch. And this features stripped down live versions of the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees' hits, Excitable Boy, Werewolves of London, and more, mastered from the analog master tapes, and produced by Warren and Duncan Aldrich. Yeah, I mean, just get the box set if you can't. I mean, as long as we still have one, but you can get them separately now too. So, all right, moving right along, jazz stuff. Okay, and some people are gonna fast forward. Horace Silver and a completely newly undiscovered release, Silver in Seattle, live at the Penthouse. This is previously unissued fiery live sets with Powerhouse Horace Silver Band in 1965. Stunning broadcast quality recording captured 60 years ago. So anyway, mastered by Matthew Luthans at the Mastering Lab. That's pretty cool. You don't see completely unreleased jazz records that much. There's so many reissues. Now here's a reissue. I don't know what they did with this. They got the label all mixed up on the back. It's supposed to be down this side. But anyway, Yusuf Lateef, and this is his Jazz Mood record. Yusuf tends to be a little bit more experimental with stuff. But this is pretty cool. This is fairly early too. I can't see the date because it's all covered up. But this is Lacquers cut by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. Jazz Mood by Yusuf Lateef. And you got Hank Mobley, Jazz Message number 2. These are both done by the OJC Original Jazz Classic series. This one is also Kevin Gray. He has Hank Mobley, Donald Byrd on trumpet, Lee Morgan on trumpet, depending on which side, Hank Jones, Doug Watkins, Art Taylor, Kenny Clark, and Barry Harris. Those are the players here. These records are super hard to get. if you find originals, they cost a fortune. So just buy them. They sound great. Plus, I mean, they sound like they're in the room with you. Plus, these jackets are really durable and sturdy. They don't break or anything, and the records are so well made. Props to the OJC series. Another series that's really great, the Verve Acoustic Sound series. We've got Jerry Mulligan meets Johnny Hodges. And the other one this week, Stan Getz meets Jerry Mulligan. So 2 Jerry Mulligan releases. Guy doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. Great sax player. And yeah, these were done, I think, mid-late 50s. I'm not sure. But 2 Verve Acoustic Sounds. If you watched last week, CBS Saturday, I don't know if it was featured other times too, but they did a special, or it might have been Sunday morning, they did a special profile of Chad Kassem, who runs Acoustic Sounds in Salina, Kansas, which was about an hour west of where I grew up. And one of my best friends in the world lived in the Levi Strauss, in the house that was literally right behind the church that Chad Kassem now owns as the recording studio for Verve Acoustic Sounds. And then right down the street is his pressing plant and warehouse. So it's great to see a place in the geographical center of the country, in the middle of Kansas, cranking out quality music records for people. And I highly recommend anything on Verve Acoustic Sounds. They do such a good job with their pressing. Everything is, the quality control is there. And whether it's jazz or rock or whatever, his company's pressed a lot of Pearl Jam's records. They're currently in charge of doing the entire Jimi Hendrix line. So anything pressed for Jimi Hendrix is coming out of Kansas. And props to Kansas. So, all right. Tom Waits and a reissue of his Nighthawks from the Diner album. This is 180 gram limited edition color vinyl, 50th anniversary. One of his best albums of the 70s, I think. And it was a live record. I think they brought a audience into the studio so he could play it live in the studio, perform it live. So there is a lot of audience, like, laughter, and you can, like, hear, like, you know, the sounds of glasses and things like that clinking. But it gives such a real authentic feel to this, and a lot of original material that was sort of more like beat poetry and stuff that weren't on his other records or didn't seem to fit on other ones. But he was on fire during this era. I think really great stuff. And early stuff, mid-70s, 74, I think 75. So Tom Waits. I think this is like yellow marble vinyl, but it doesn't say it on the sticker what color it is. I just saw that in a description somewhere. Beatty Wolf and Brian Eno come back with another album, Liminal. This is the 3rd album that they've done this year. The first 2, one was vocal and the other one, and I think mostly her vocals, and the other one was instrumental. And this is supposedly like a combination of the 2. So a 3rd album from Brian and Beatty, and called Liminal. Lemonheads, and their first album in like 20 years. This is the latest from Evan Dando. It's called Love Chant, and it's the first album of original material in nearly 2 decades. A bold melodic reaffirmation of one of alternative rock's most distinctive voices. The Lemonheads' ability to merge punk rock's energetic simplicity with lush melodic hooks is both timeless and influential, says Pitchfork magazine. I haven't heard anything from this yet, except I heard a little bit of the single, Deep End, featuring Juliana Hatfield on backing vocals. I can't remember who else was on. Jay Mascis, I think, was on that as well. So, I don't know, kind of interested to hear it. This, I think, is this is the yellow vinyl edition. Cover's cool. It's got kind of embossed lettering down here at the bottom. It says the Lemonheads. So, all right. Yeah, Evan got it together and did something. Raekwon in his new record, The Emperor's New Clothes, multicolor variant, featuring Nas, Ghostface Killah, Method Man, Inspectah Deck, Westside Gunn, Conway with the Machine, Benny the Butcher, and more. Wu-Tang's own, cranking out new records in 2025. I think there's also a Ghostface Killah album out or coming out. We haven't gotten it yet, so I don't know. There seems to be stock issues, but they did manage to get the Raekwon album out. A couple of other hip-hop records to look for, or another one this week. Earl Sweatshirt's Live, Laugh, Love. And this is his first new album in a while. Let's see, it says featuring Tourmaline and Exhaust. This is the limited edition alternate cover and black and orange crush vinyl. So it's a color vinyl edition. This is the actual regular edition. And I don't know if this is color at all. I don't think it is. But anyway, Earl Sweatshirt, you can have one or the other. I love how this says an album by Earl Sweatshirt in the sort of refrigerator magnets there. But I did have someone come in and ask for that like a week ago. So I guess maybe it was streaming online or something, or they were under the impression that it was out already. SpongeBob SquarePants, the music from the movie, and more. I think this came out for a record store day, so this might just be a repressing of it, but features the hits The Best Day Ever and Goofy Goober Rock, with songs from Wilco, Ween, and Avril Lavigne, pressed on transparent yellow vinyl. Who else? Yeah, this is, I think, just a reissue of that. If you missed it, now you can get it. Flaming Lips are on here. Who else? The Shins, Motorhead. Yeah, there's others too. Tom Rothrock. I mean, if you like SpongeBob, and this cover is just so like eye-catching, you know, you can't miss it. This sort of warms my heart. David Bowie and Bing Crosby, a picture disc of Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth. And if you haven't heard that song, it's one of the best Christmas songs ever. And I don't know, it just makes me feel all verklempt at that time of year when I hear this. The B-side is White World of Winter. I don't know that, but it's worth it for the A-side and for this great picture disc from the music video. Before they were doing music videos, David looks so young there and healthy. It's probably the mid-late 70s, sort of after all that Thin White Duke stuff. Living Room by AJR. This is a reissue of their first album, the debut album featuring Infinity and I'm Ready. The first time on vinyl. Wow. Bone and black splatter vinyl. They look like kids there. And there. And this is before they went all kind of CG with everything. But yeah, this features a song Pitchfork Kids, Woody Allen. Yeah, so what year did this come out? Yeah, 2015. AJR. It's been 10 years. Okay. Love this band. Columbia. Cowboy Junkies. One Soul Now. This is an album of theirs from like 2004, produced by Michael Timmons. It's getting a reissue on vinyl. First time on vinyl, limited edition yellow marble. It picks up where Open left off, retaining the tougher sound highlighted by edgy guitar work and more rhythmic pulse, says allmusic.com. So if you like Cowboy Junkies, pick that up. There's also a Cowboy Junkies CD this week that came out. I want to say it was called like More Acoustic Junk or More Acoustic Stuff. And that also is available on CD. I think I can order the vinyl. I'm not sure. But all right. And then there were some other things to mention this week that I think are of note on a CD. First of all, there's a new Eric Gales album, Blues Guy, and it's called Tribute to LJK, that is Little Jimmy King, and features a bunch of people. So got Joe Bonamassa, Chris Stone, Kingfish Ingram, Buddy Guy. Um, yeah, Eric Gales is like a ripping guitar, blues guitar guy. Another ripping blues guitar guy, Dion. And this is a CD, The Rock and Roll Philosopher. And this is a soundtrack to his new documentary, I believe, that's coming out. And this features performances by Joe Bonamassa, Sonny Landreth, Mark Knopfler, and Eric Clapton. I think this may be not out on vinyl yet, but might be coming. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. Pixies and Demos, and again, another one that probably is on vinyl. But this is a CD, The Legendary Purple Tapes, the first ever Pixies recordings from 1987, originally officially reissued with new artwork and liner notes. So Pixies Demos, early Pixies. While Kim was still there, obviously. They're reissuing already the Clips album. The CD, we haven't gotten the vinyl yet. It features a new bonus track that they added to it. I guess that one of the tracks that they did late, they loved it, and they just added it to it. So look for that. Him gets a reissue of Razor Blade Romance, and this is a CD edition with kind of a sort of a taller cover than regular CDs. And then there were a bunch of Echo and the Bunnymen reissues this week. I chose to get a couple of them. Ocean Rain and the self-titled Echo and the Bunnymen. These are on Digipacks, and they're fairly difficult to get on CD until these came. I mean, I know that they were out there before, but this one I just don't see much at all. I would love to see a vinyl reissue of this album, because it features things like Lips Like Sugar and All in Your Mind and All My Life. It's such a great album. Over You. And this is a great album, obviously. This is like one of the peaks of 80s alternative rock. Killing Moon, Nocturnal Me, Seven Seas, Crystal Days. It's just great, great, great. And The Sweet, and Live at the Marquee, 1986. Sort of a reissue of a live performance from The Sweet. And it does feature AC/DC as a bonus track, has Ballroom Blitz, Fox on the Run, live versions. Okay, I think I'm gonna end today. I'm not gonna have a recommend, but I do sort of have a recommend. I sort of want to pay a little bit of a tribute. I don't usually do these in my videos because there's so many people that I would love to pay tribute to, and I didn't really talk much even about Ozzy's passing or Ace Frehley. But someone who sort of meant a lot to me in my musical development, more than even like people like that. Because when you're a young, impressionable teenager and you're sort of getting into music, there are certain things that you just gravitate to. And I loved synth pop music. I don't think that that's a secret. I mean, I'm a huge fan of British pop of the 80s and all that sort of like Depeche Mode, and even things like The Cure, which were not necessarily synth pop but had synths in them, Tears for Fears, all that kind of stuff, Eurythmics, ABC, the list goes on, Yazoo. And one of my earliest loves, well, I didn't have an older brother or sister, so I kind of had to find my own way in the music that I liked. I was growing up in the middle of the country. Kansas, I mentioned. I didn't have a lot of money. Whatever money I had, I always earned from paper deliveries. Do kids deliver papers anymore? Not much. And I took that money and I bought records with it because I had to have some enjoyment in my life, I felt, and I loved music, and people weren't going to buy it for me because records were, even though they were a lot cheaper than they are now, they were still expensive. So a lot of times I would sift through the bargain bins, the cutout bins, and just find things that I had no idea what they sounded like. I just loved the look of the record, or thought, oh, this seems like a cool deal, kind of cheap, gets it out of the record store and puts it in my collection. And because I was like really into British music, so I discovered the band Soft Cell early on because I really loved Tainted Love. I bought the 45. I didn't buy the album initially. I probably should have, but I was like, oh, I don't know how many hits are going to be on this, and it seems a little weird. Should I get it? I don't know. It's still fairly early, 80, 81. Like, I bought Human League's Dare because Don't You Want Me was such a massive hit. And then the rest of that album is great, but it's like, it's a little quirkier, right? And so anyway, same thing with Soft Cell. So I kind of like ended up buying, I think one of the first 12-inch records I bought of theirs was for the Soul Inside. It was the Soul Inside 12-inch single. It had like, it was from their, like between the second and third album. It had like a 10-minute version of the title track, and it had their cover of You Only Live Twice, the James Bond theme. But there's a song on there called Barriers that I just thought was one of the most beautiful songs I'd ever heard. It was basically just a very quiet synth background with a little bit of oboe, real oboe, and Mark Almond's expressive voice, and just singing like kind of poetry. And I thought, well, this is really unique. And there's a lot of other songs that I wanted to know more about. And so I bought their second album, The Art of Falling Apart, which was also in the cutout bin. That featured a second bonus record of them doing a Jimi Hendrix medley. Not very well, but I love the flip side, the song called Martin, which was kind of almost like a 10-minute haunted house sort of track. And so I figured a lot of this music that was coming out they were only a duo, a synth duo. And I'm like, who's the guy doing all the music here? That guy was named Dave Ball. And Dave passed away yesterday at the age of 66. And it hurts my heart because I sort of developed such a passion for music listening to stuff like that. And it kind of took me out of the sort of what I would say the corporate rock listening of the bands like Journey and Styx, and nothing against those bands at all. They served their function for me, but I sort of drifted more towards like artier things coming out of England. And I'm like, oh, this is what music could be. And then last year for a record store day, they reissued an extended version, songs that were extended versions of Soft Cell's first album, A Nonstop Erotic Cabaret. It's the one that featured Tainted Love. This is Dave Ball right here, Mark Almond. And I said Dave passed away. He'd had some serious health issues for the last couple years. And he couldn't tour this summer or this fall when Soft Cell came to the U.S. and Simple Minds were the headliner. And so it was Mark with other people. But still, Dave's music got played. And there is a Soft Cell album that he just finished a few days ago called Danceteria that's scheduled to come out in March, reflecting on their time in about 1980 when they came to the U.S. As young college art students that were punks. Mark was really into sort of cabaret and punk music, and Dave was into punk too, but Dave really liked electronic music, and he loved Kraftwerk and things like that. And he wanted to take that and fuse it with Northern soul music, which is sort of a kind of a soul music that came out of England that sort of got people dancing and whatever. And put those two things together, and he got a soul singer in Mark, and they made some really iconic records for my listening anyway. So I just want to give a shout out and a rest in peace to Dave Ball. You earned it. And anyway, these are the things that form us as people. And it's tragic, but he had a long life and he suffered, and but he was doing better, so that's the kind of tragedy of it. Anyway, thanks for viewing, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna leave before I get upset. I'm gonna go listen to some Soft Cell. So, all right, take care, everybody, and have a great week. Love y'all. Peace, and see you next time for Halloween. All right, take care.